back to Flock Talk. Today I'm going to be going over a couple different methods that you can use to help encourage your birds to eat vegetables. When it comes to trying new foods, birds can be very, very picky. If they haven't been shown new foods at a very young age when they were weaning, it can be nearly impossible to get them to try new things. So we have to be very persistent and very creative when it comes to encouraging them to try foods that they don't want to try. So we have to be very persistent and very creative with what we do to encourage them to try new things. So the first thing to consider when it comes to feeding your birds vegetables is what vegetables to actually present to them. Vegetables that are going to work the best are going to be things like broccoli, because it has all the little seed-like bits on the top. It often encourages birds to want to give it a try. If you don't want to present it to them like this, or they're not liking it like this, it is easy enough just to take a knife and just shave off the top bits so you get all of those teeny tiny little seed-like beads that can be mixed in with seeds that they already do like, or it can be mixed in with things like mashed sweet potato or other foods like applesauce that the birds do enjoy to start eating more healthy foods. Another really good vegetable to try out is snap peas. Snap peas are a great one because they have a very similar texture to sprouts. You can just pop them open and let the birds pick at it like this, where it's a great little foraging opportunity, or you can individually pull out the little peas on the inside and serve them that way. Birds tend to take really, really well to peas and beans and things like that because they are a very dominant part of their natural diet. Things like natural sprouts are very hearty and something they would naturally eat a lot of. The last vegetable up on the list here is spinach. Spinach, or any really dark leafy green, is a really good option. Birds just tend to take to leaves really, really well, and leafy greens are one of the easiest ones to morph into different shapes. It's easy enough to break and cut and present in different ways. It's also a vegetable that you could naturally be eating yourself in a salad, which is the easiest way to help show birds to eat things, is to eat it yourself. Next up, I would consider presentation. Which of these two dishes here look better to you? Odds are you're going to be saying it's this one because it's got some bright, vibrant colors, some different sized vegetables, and a lot of different textures to it. This one over here is a standard parrot chop, which is just a bunch of pureed vegetables that are all chopped up nice and fine to be one pretty consistent shape. Now this one doesn't look bad, there is still a lot of color variety into it, but it is pretty boring. There isn't a whole lot going on with it. There's nothing wrong with it. It is nutritionally balanced. It is a good solid food to be feeding them. However, birds are very visually oriented creatures, which can make foods that look like this, when there's nothing else interesting going on with it, very boring very fast, especially if this is what they are being fed every single day. When you compare the plain chop dish to this one here, you notice there's a lot more variety to it, there's a lot more textures, there's some crunchiness, there's some very bright, vibrant colors that can create a lot more visual interest with the meal. Even though you're still serving them the nutritionally balanced chop, it is mixed in with a lot of other fresh, crisp greens and very vibrant colors, which are going to make this a little bit more interesting. Birds may find this meal a little bit more appetizing because it's different every day. It's easy enough to take the nice balanced meal in the middle there and add different vegetables on the outside, cut them up differently, or present them in different ways. This is a very easy method to make sure that the birds are going to stay interested in their meals once you do finally start encouraging them to try them in the first place. Another thing you can try to encourage birds to eat foods is to add things into the mix that they already like. This can be things like seeds, which you could just sprinkle into the mixture, maybe some flaked coconut or some other shredded nut pieces, or any other number of things like crushed up pellets or treats that the birds are already enjoying. This method I don't like quite as much because birds will pick and choose what they enjoy. So even though you might mix all the things they do like in here and stir it around, the bird will still poke through and just grab what they like. It can be a good method to get them to start tasting it, especially if you use grains like oats, which will soak up a lot of the mixture and kind of take in the flavors of the vegetables around it. That can be very, very good for encouraging birds to initially try the flavor. However, birds can be really difficult to wean off of the seeds in the mix once you start adding it. This strange device right here is the Catit brand wheatgrass sprouter. Wheatgrass, as well as other beans and sprouts and things that you grow, can be a very beneficial way to encourage your birds to try new foods. Now, you aren't limited to just wheatgrass, and you aren't limited to just using fancy devices like this. You can grow flax seeds, you could even sprout millet, sunflower seeds. You can sprout just about any seed or grain that you want, provided that the seeds are fresh enough. Do double check with whatever seed you decide to grow that it is actually bird safe. There are some seeds that are not safe for birds to eat once they start growing. Sprouts can be very, very beneficial for birds because they are extremely nutrient dense. When the seed is growing and germinating, it has to pack in a lot of nutrition to be able to actually feed the sprout itself and grow. So when your bird starts munching away at those seeds and grains, it ends up being extremely dense in nutrition for them and is a really good transitional food to go from eating a seed to eating a more nutrient-dense seed, to eating a fully fledged sprout that is super, super dense and doesn't really taste like a seed anymore. Feeding them the seeds in different states of their sprouting process can be extremely fun, as well as extremely beneficial for the bird to start to try new foods. The whole process of sprouting is pretty simple. Just get yourself a jar, some seeds, and some water. All you're gonna do is take a couple of seeds, however many you want, add them into your container, and pour in some water. Every seed is a little different with its directions, but the basic gist of it is that you're gonna let these seeds sit and soak overnight so they can soak up all that water. Once that's done, you're gonna wanna go ahead and drain your seeds and then give them a really good rinse under the tap. And then just kind of continually mist them, make sure they're nice and moist until you start to see the seeds start to grow. Once the seeds have grown, you can give them to your bird. How long you let them grow is entirely up to you. If you're just starting out a bird with sprouts, I would just wait until they're just starting to show signs of sprouting and then slowly give them the seeds a little bit more grown each time until the bird is able to eat a fully grown sprout. Sprouts are a really good transitional food because they are so dense in their nutrition, and you can go from a straight seed that the birds already eat to one that is basically gradually turning itself into a vegetable. So it's nice and easy to slowly incorporate that into their diets. And from there, you can start to add more similar foods like peas and beans and gradually move to different foods as they start to adapt to it. Combining all of these methods together can be extremely beneficial and serve a lot of benefits. Each bird is going to take to different things, so you do need to get creative and try a bunch of different methods to see what exactly is going to end up working. And that is it for today's video. Hopefully some of these tips will give you guys a couple new ideas of things to try out. Do remember that you have to be very persistent. Don't just try these methods once, say it didn't work and move on. You should keep trying it for a few weeks, even a month for each method to see if you make any progress or not. It will take quite a bit of time for birds who aren't used to eating vegetables to give them a try. You just have to be very persistent. It is very important for their health, so I do encourage you not to give up. There are all sorts of different methods. These are just a handful of the ones that I find have the most success. So I do hope they helped you out in one way or another. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.